Test, test. Yes, that's the drum machine now introducing Glide. This is just the filter resonance of Collide. Good. Voice a little quiet. Yeah, I lowered it a little bit. I lowered the voice a little bit because it was too loud, I thought, but it turned out the synth was a bit too low. There you go. Increase the level of the voice a bit. Right, let's cut out everything and go back to pastel crusts. There we go. Level's good, yes. Thanks, good. Here we are with my second attempt at explanatory for pastel crust, which is this one, of course. It's a drum module based on the same DSP platform as the pastel pizza. And I'm using it at the moment in the layer for noise. There are two layers. One is an oscillator layer, the other one is a noise layer. I'm doing lots of modulation, as you can hear, so let's take that out as well. This is the plain sound. Can't hear too much when so the oscillator layer I described in a previous video already. So this is part actually of a video I'm building on the crust. I've done a recording for the oscillator layer. I haven't done one on the noise layer yet. That's what I'm preparing here. And then afterwards I'm going to have a third video on the combination of both, which is going to be quite interesting because then you have the full range of sounds of pastel crust. Right, this one is the noise layer. What can we do with it? Well, there are 4 modes which I need to look up, but anyway, the clap speaks for itself. Very high claps, rather low claps. There's an unmarked mode which I think is regular noise. Then there's a metal one. As far as I remember, this is 2 noise sources XORed with each other, which gives a sort of a metallic effect. It's quite nice. And it's also very tunable, so the octave pitch knob here works well. And then there's this mode, which I also don't know by heart what exactly it does, but I think it helps me for this patch. Now, a couple of other possibilities here. There's a sweep mode. The sweep mode is very handy in case of the oscillator layer, because then on the in the middle it doesn't do much. If you turn clockwise, it becomes a typical kick envelope, so you start at a high pitch and then lower down. On the other side, it's the opposite. Let me just change the... There you go. And this sounds a little bit like a sort of drum where you hit in the middle and then the pitch goes from low to high. But it doesn't do anything in the noise mode. Finally, there's a detune, which also doesn't do much in the noise mode. Those are settings that are used for the oscillator mode. Right. This one does do something. So the envelope switch here in the middle, it doesn't do anything. On the right, you get a very fast attack and then a slow decay mode, and the further you turn, the longer the decay becomes. On the other side, you get a triangle attack decay envelope for those sliding noisy sounds. Can go very long. Next slider that we have is also 3 functions. The filter mode does the obvious thing. It's a DJ style filter, so on the left side it's a low pass, on the right side it's a high pass. There's a clipping possibility. Two sides have different algorithms for clipping. So this one goes dark and boomy. This one in this mode doesn't seem to do much. Hold on. I have my control button here, control knob set to the clipping mode. It's kind of an overdrive on the right side, whereas on the left it's an extreme, an aggressive version of it. And then finally the shape. Shape doesn't do anything in the noise mode, this is documented, but it does work in the oscillator mode. It's funny because the filter doesn't do anything in the oscillator mode, the shape doesn't do anything in the noise mode, but the filter does. So some functionalities are enabled or disabled depending on which layer you are, which of course gives a pretty complex sound when you start mixing the two and playing with modulation. Okay, then finally we have the control knob here. Control, just like on the pizza oscillator, can be set to several things. Just long press this one and you see what it's currently set at. So it's set to clipping, so we get that booming thing again. You can set it to shape, doesn't do anything. You can set it to filter, but you can go further. That's a filter. This would be it on the pizza, but on the crust you have many more possibilities. So you can start playing with these, which are settings described in the manual. There's a full page with a long list of possibilities for this control knob. You can have settings here. You can control the sweep with it, which is fun in the oscillator mode. With the octave, you're basically controlling the pitch using the control knob or the control CV input. For this patch I was using the clip. Right, disable this one again. So the control knob is set to the clipping mode. So if I plug this one into the control, I need to enable it first, of course. Oop. The effect you're hearing comes from this one, which I set up in the node sec to be an LFO, so it goes up and down, as you can hear. Here we go again. Just decrease the envelope a little bit to make it less overwhelming. That's the clipping mode. So it's controlled by control, but when I set the button to clip, I can actually set in an offset. And here it goes all boomy all the time. And like this, it doesn't. If I set this light to filter, then of course with the slider I can control filter, but I can also control it using this patch point. And this is what's giving me my effect. Even though it's based on noise source, I do get some boomy effect to get, let's say, a kind of kick drum, but also hi-hat effects and some notes in between. This one is coming from the mod track in my sequencer. Depending on the note, I set the mod track to 0 or all the way up, and that's what's causing some notes to just sound like the little clicks you hear as a kind of percussion effect, whereas the others can go boomy for more basic notes. That's it for the crust. There's an enormous amount of stuff in this module. It's very hard to describe in a short explanation. You really need the manual, particularly when you start setting the control function, because it's just so overwhelming how many possibilities there are. Still, if you want everything in one small 8 HP drum module, Crust can do it all. So time to start playing again. This is Collide's filter resonance that I set up. This is only the filter resonance. So the input level is off. The input is not coming through at all. By the way, the stereo effect that you're hearing, is caused by collides. So I set the oscillator to low mode. If I set it to audio, now it's oscillating. But when it's set to low mode, because of the ring modulation, it will actually cancel out left and right one after the other, and that's why it's going back and forth between the two sides. That's actually Collide taking care of this effect. We can play around with it. Well, play around. There's two possibilities. This way it's less pronounced, and now it's jumping up and down. Playing around with the possibilities of pizza here. Now, one fun thing is that I set the frequency of the filter to track the frequency of the oscillator, which is a bit strange because the oscillator is going so slowly, but still I can use the coarse tuning knob of the oscillator to control the stereo effect. The time constant here is a low pass filter all the way at the end. So now you're basically not hearing anything anymore. That was it. Thanks for tuning in.